You're listening to the OZIE GILBERT Podcast on YouTube. Lads Holidays, Tenerife. The combination of a lifetime that happened to me and my friends in the year of 2019. Man, it was good. Hi guys, you're listening to podcast episode 3 where I go on about a lad's holiday. So first of all, before I get into it, I just want to point out that this podcast is all about a lad's holiday I had in Tenerife in 2019. And it's also about what you should do on a lad's holiday. But I want to make it clear that my friend has actually done a podcast recently on this exact topic of our holiday. And obviously he was on the one that I am going to be talking about. I'm not trying to copy him in any way. I just want to make that clear that he's given me the idea to basically give my take of the holiday. So I want to talk about my own experience and also things that I would suggest for you guys to do if you want to have an amazing lads holiday. So I just want to make that clear that that's all this is. Right, so the first thing that I want to say about what I recommend for you guys to have a great, amazing holiday with your mates whenever we get a chance to do that, because obviously COVID is restricting things that we're able to do at the moment, and it's obviously very frustrating. So it's what I've done is I've set out a few rules here of the best way of going about making a lad's holiday the best you can. So my first one would be very much, in this situation it's very hard, just to make sure that you really take your time and know what you're getting yourself involved in. So what I mean by that is when you're booking the holiday itself, make sure that it has a money back guarantee, so you can get your money back if you are not sure if COVID's going to be obviously restricting it and the holidays could be cancelled. So just make sure you're going with sort of an airline that your money is going to come back. And then I think with obviously a good travel site as well, that they can give you money back on as well. But I don't know too much about that, but just make sure you look into it. Make sure the travel company that you go through give money back, and also the airline where possible in case it's cancelled, which I know at the moment they're doing because of COVID, that you can get money back if COVID. So it's only if COVID. I just want to make that clear. So that'd be the first rule. Make sure you do that. Make sure you look into that. The second thing is make sure it's all inclusive. It doesn't have to be, obviously, in normal circumstances. You don't have to have an all-inclusive holiday. I'm not saying that is the best holiday to have necessarily in every situation. But for a lad's holiday, an all-inclusive holiday is very much recommended to get everything out of it. Obviously, free drinks, free food, so you don't have to worry, don't have to pay any extra. You know exactly what you're spending before you even go. So they're all really important points that I would point out to try and do if you're planning on going on a lad's holiday. So yeah, that would be my second rule, is make sure that you go all-inclusive. Makes your life a lot easier, right? And that does include the flights, and you also want to get seating together where possible, so try and have a look into that as early as possible and book your seats as early as possible and make sure you all agree. But if not, just get them as close as you can. It's not the end of the world if you don't sit right next to your best mate, right? Another thing is it's hard to know exactly what's going to happen with COVID at the moment. So you might have to have a jab before you go. Another thing is, you obviously, I think with a lad's holiday, you want to try and book the holiday as close as you can to the summer period, because that's where it's going to be popular and you're going to meet lots more girls, have a lot better of an experience, because there's going to be a lot more sort of Brits that are going to be out to these countries having a good time at the clubs. Which brings me on to, I guess this is my third rule. Make sure you go to a country that has lots of nightclubs, lots of nightlife, lots of good atmosphere, lots of cheap drinks. Places that I can think of off the top of my head, maybe Magaluf, Ibiza. Ibiza's a bit more expensive, but certainly recommended. Ayia Napa, Tenerife, Las Americas, where we went for our lads' holiday, and try and also get as close as you possibly can to the nightlife, as close as you can to the clubs. You don't want to be too far away. And that would be my next rule, is when you do get there, just, make sure that your hotel is as close as you can without it getting too expensive. But a lot of the time, all-inclusive packages just means that the cheaper you go, the further it is away from the clubs and stuff. That's kind of like that's a bit of common sense there. But not always. You can get an all-inclusive that's going to be right close to the clubs, but you might have to pay a lot more. Let's say, like, for example, we went to Tenerife for like £450, £500. It might cost £1,000 if you want to be in the right in the centre, in the heart of it, and in not just a good location, but have a nice hotel with better quality food and drink and stuff like that, and a better swimming pool. That will cost you more. But it is good, if you can, to be as close as possible to the action, if you like. The next rule I would say is, if you want to make it cheaper, don't go in the summer. I know I said go in like the best summertime. You want to if you got more money, but if you're on a budget, go when it's sort of as closest to summer as possible. So maybe like Easter, just before the kids, are off school and stuff like that. That's when we went, in sort of April time and May. Yeah, that's a good time to go. But just make sure that it's not the most expensive time. But it's still, it's still a time when it's hot and still plenty of nightlife. My next recommendation would be to always wear a sunscreen. Okay, we've heard the song all about that, but it's so super important, guys. Make sure you wear your sunscreen. Protects you from the rays. You could get fucking cancer if you don't wear it. The other thing I would suggest is try not to smoke too much pot, because you'll go freaking loopy, and you don't know who you're getting it from. Could be a dodgy dealer. If you can, get someone that knows what they're talking about, or smuggle it up your arse. Either way, be careful what you're doing. We've all made that mistake. Well, a lot of us have. And also, if you can, try and if you are going to smoke the cigarettes that last a bit longer, because some of them are super, super rubbish in countries, particularly in Tenerife where we went to. And drink responsibly. And I think that's about it. And just make sure you have a good time. They're the lessons that I've definitely learned, is to not be so far away from the clubs, because you have to get a cab all the time and it gets expensive. That's one of the main ones. And another thing is, try to limit how much you need to go to an ATM, because I know that they can be a bit dodgy. We had some problems with the ATMs. Try not to go to them as much as you can, because they can take your money. I think one of my mate, actually, some of his money was stolen from an ATM, so be really careful with that. Don't just put your money in an ATM. Try and take a certain amount of cash for that night and don't spend anything else. That's another one of my rules. It's really important that you do that, guys. Stick to a budget every time you go out in cash. Maybe take a card just in case if you need it, but then that tempts you to spend more, so preferably not. But yeah. So that's just made me think, actually, there is something else that is very important to remember. And that's to try and drink as much as you can for prees before you actually get to the nightclub. Because in Tenerife, for example, if anyone's thinking about going there, or the Canary Islands, whatever, it's not too bad. You get some really good cheap deals there. But if you go somewhere like Ibiza, it's going to be expensive in the clubs. Some of them very, very expensive. So once you've got your ticket or whatever for the club, just make sure that you drink lots before, and try and, literally bring a water bottle from the hotel, whatever, that you've got, and one that you can just throw in a bin just before you get in as well, so you stay hydrated, because water bottles or water, is very expensive in a lot of these types of countries. But it depends where you go. Like Tenerife, again, like I say, it's not too bad, but obviously you can't get tap water, so you've got to bear that in mind, that you'll have to buy a bottle, and some places can be cheaper and some places can be more expensive. So try and have a lot to drink, water and alcohol, before you go, even though that's a weird combination. I know we certainly had a lot, and that goes back to why you should go to an all-inclusive place, because you can get, free alcohol, and I remember we were like constantly going down to the bar and just getting like cups of Coke with vodka and and I think I was having rum, and it was just so good. And just sitting by the pool. Try to also get a hotel with your mates. That's a hotel with mates, a gym with your mates. You can get up in the morning, have your breakfast, whatever, go to the gym, get a good pump on, and then that sort of, gets you in that early mood for the night out. It sort of gets you in the right spirits. Have the right spirits, but it gets you in the right spirit for the night out, gets you in the right mood. And then as the day goes on, you want to make sure you have good music, good company. And that's another thing, actually, is another rule, is just make sure that you have the right company around you, the right mates that aren't going to, you take the piss out of each other, but not too much where it's like really horrible. Make sure that, you've got not fake friends, but you'll certainly learn that when you're on the holiday, who your true friends are, I think really are, is if you go away with someone, then you really understand what someone's like. It's a very good indication. So just be a bit careful who you're going on holiday with, even if some group of friends say to you, "Oh, do you want to come on a holiday with me?" But they're not like your number one best friend group. Maybe, reconsider it, or certainly look into that. And if you can, try and go with your very best friends, even if it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mates. Doesn't have to be loads. So yeah, there's some of the rules of how to have an amazing lads holiday. Just a bit of advice I thought I would give you guys if you're planning to go this year, maybe next year, depending on the virus situation. Now, the holiday itself, the Tenerife holiday itself, was an interesting one. Very exciting. Obviously, like before we landed in Tenerife, we were very excited. We took off at Bristol Airport, stayed at my friend Elijah's house, in his house in Bristol. Didn't sleep great that night, so I was super tired, but because I was so excited, I was running on the adrenaline. I think we went to bed at like maybe 1 to 2 o'clock in the morning, and then as soon as I sort of started drifting off, my mates came down and decided to wake me up because they said they were too excited, even though we had sort of quite a few hours before we actually had to leave. Had some breakfast, and then off we went. Got to the airport very early, like even earlier than we really needed to, like maybe 2.5 hours earlier, 2 hours earlier, something like that. But I guess it is important to do that, to get to the airport early. But at that time in the morning, at 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning, if you got a plane, it's not very important, because even if there's a massive queue to go through to the airport lounge, or whatever you want to call it, the security thing, it doesn't really matter if there's a huge queue or a small queue. The plane leaves at exact same time, if that makes sense. But anyway, got to Tenerife, and then the heat just hit us, and we realised that this is really happening. We're really on a holiday that we planned for quite a long time before. My friend Liam found the holiday for us, and yeah, he did a good job. It was like £450 per person for 5 nights in Tenerife, all inclusive, including food and drink, which is amazing, right? But then we still ended up spending loads of money on booze and cabs, so like alcohol on the nights out. We also spent money on a water park that we went to, Siam Park in Tenerife, which I certainly recommend. It's amazing, great fun. The slides and everything were just amazing. I know, I'm not just saying this, but it's actually one of the best water parks in the world, if not the best in the world. Even better than a lot of the ones in America. And it has one of the scariest, most insane water slides in the world, which is called Tower of Power, I believe. So definitely recommend that water park. If you ever get a chance to go to Tenerife, definitely make sure you go to Siam Park. I'm not trying to promote this, by the way. I'm not trying to advertise it. I'm just saying that from my own experience, I did enjoy it. There's plenty of other things you can do in Tenerife. Las Americas is where we went for the nights out, where it's like a strip of clubs. We got there on a cab, and we were literally like singing the whole way to the clubs in the cab, which was quite funny. And then a lot of weird shit happens in the nights out. I must say that. One of my mates almost got married to a Dutch girl. Don't know what happened there. But I just remember talking to one of our friends, and then I turned round and one of her friends who she was with, who happened to be Dutch, and then I can't remember, I think my friend proposed to her and she said yes, and then he legit was thinking he was like married the next day. It was really bizarre, and we were like, dude, you need to just forget about this girl, that was just a load of fun, obviously you were drunk. And he was like, no, but seriously, like, I really like this girl, jokes aside. But don't think he got the memo that was just a laugh, and although it wasn't really him proposing, and obviously they wasn't getting married, it was very strange. We got up to no good, really. Well, I was not too bad, luckily, because I was actually in a relationship at the time, so I had to be careful, make sure I didn't do anything too naughty. You don't have to be single to go on a lad's holiday. You can be in a relationship and still have a great time. I just think it helps a bit if you are single, because then you can really let your hair down, whereas if you're in a relationship, you might just have to be a bit more cautious, but who knows, maybe you don't even think about having to be cautious. You can still have a good time knowing, obviously, that you're not going to cheat and you're going to just do a lot of crazy shit apart from try and get with girls. That's the only thing that you can't do. But you can definitely try new things and stuff, which is what I did there. Had a good laugh. But we went to this little Irish bar, which is right outside of the hotel. That was good. And Tenerife was, just an amazing experience. Changed me as a person when I got back. Not too much, but definitely made you realise what's important in life. And me personally, I just wanted to go on a holiday straight after. As soon as I landed in Britain, I was like, oh, this is a load of shit. I had to go back to uni, and uni I wasn't enjoying, and I dropped out eventually. So that's something I wasn't looking forward to going back to. But it's a good holiday. And I just wanted to mention it. I thought I'll do a quick podcast about it. Why not? I can't wait to go again. Can't wait to have another brilliant holiday. And for you guys listening, definitely recommend a lad's holiday. And let me know if you listen to this podcast, if it's given you any ideas, any inspiration, and I've helped you with anything. Please let me know in the comments. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Like this podcast and subscribe to the channel. Be most appreciated. Thank you very much for listening. Adios.